Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing my Booktube-A-Thon TBR. I know technically that this video should have gone up about a week ago because if you want to enter the giveaway, I believe the due date was the 23rd or so, but because knowing me and I wasn't really sure which books to pick, I am doing my TBR now, and yeah, so I'm technically late, but I am just in time for the actual readathon to begin. So anyways, let's get right into it. So for this time around, the Booktube-A-Thon runs from July 30th to August 5th, and there are 7 reading challenges, so that's what I'm going to be going off of for my TBR. This is also my first time participating, so I'm very excited to see everything that's going to happen. I don't actually know all the details right now in terms of the video challenges. I believe there are going to be video challenges, but I'm not really sure how that works because I know there are separate hosts for video challenges, so I'll have to look into that later. But as of right now, I'm just going to focus on the reading challenges because that's what I'm most excited for. So anyway, the 7 challenges are as follows. Number 1, let a coin toss decide your first read. That will be very interesting for me to see which one I'll be picking. Number 2, read a book about something you want to do. Number 3, read and watch a book to movie adaptation. Number 4, read a book with green on the cover. Number 5, read a book while wearing the same hat the whole time. I think this was the challenge that everyone was talking about when she announced it because a lot of people don't have hats. I don't have a hat. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this, to be honest. I think I might just wear a scarf or something around my head and then just do that because I don't even know where my hats are. I'm going to look for a hat. But number 6, read a book with a beautiful spine. And number 7, read 7 books. So basically, you have to pick a separate book essentially for each challenge, or you can just pick separate books afterward to have the 7 books total. But anyways, I'm very excited for all the challenges. In terms of the first challenge, let a coin toss decide your first read, I'm gonna do that towards the end once I figure out all the other books, or once I share with you guys all the other books I want to read, and then I'll decide with the coin toss which one I want to read first. So the second challenge was read a book about something you want to do. This is actually one of the harder ones I came up with, like in terms of the book, because I wasn't sure, since I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi, I wasn't sure how much I should stick with the realm of reality and not go off into some fantasy world. Like, I would love to ride a unicorn or something like that. So anyways, I decided to pick a book that is still technically not in this realm of reality, but that's okay because I picked Time Traveling with a Hamster by Ross Welford. I have had this book on my bookshelf for the longest time, and I figured, who doesn't want to time travel? I mean, I think that is something everyone wants to do at least once in their lifetime, maybe in the future, near future. But that's what this book is about. It's about a little boy called Al Chaudhary. He's 12 years old and he receives 2 gifts on his 12th birthday, a hamster and a letter from his dad. And then the letter basically points him to this time machine, and then he goes off into about 30 years, travels 30 years into the past, and there's all these adventures, and he's basically time traveling with a hamster. I don't usually read middle grade books, but I think this book will be really fun and entertaining, and it'll go by really fast despite the size of this book. So regardless, I'm very excited to pick this one up. So the third challenge was read and watch a book to movie adaptation. This one was also really hard for me because I pretty much have read and watched all the movies, like book to movie adaptations I wanted to already, and the ones I haven't, like the movie I haven't watched it yet, it's because it has not come out yet. But I've read the books. But the only book that I haven't read yet that I really want to read was Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I am well aware that this movie doesn't come out until mid-August, in which case I will not be fulfilling the movie part of this challenge, but that's okay because I still want to read this book anyways, and it's technically a book to movie, book aspect part. It's just the movie part hasn't come out yet, but that's not my fault because honestly I looked at every other book and movie adaptation, like Ready Player One. I've read that already. What else was there? A Wrinkle in Time, that was another one that I also read and watched the movie of. There's definitely a lot more. The Agatha Christie one, Murder on the Orient Express, I read and watched that movie as well. So I've pretty much done a lot of the ones that I really want to read and watch, so I'm just gonna pick this one and just watch this movie a few weeks later. So this is kind of a cheat book or whatever. Then the fourth challenge was to read a book with green on the cover, and I think I have picked this book for a lot of my TBR, like readathon TBRs already, so maybe the third or fourth try will be the charm and I actually finish it this time. But I'm picking The Library at the Edge of the World by Felicity Hayes-McCoy. I have picked this book so many times already, I just haven't had the chance to actually read it yet. But obviously there is a lot of green in this cover, plus it takes place in Ireland and green is their color, so I think this book fits really well. I'm not going to go too much into this book because I've literally talked about this book like 4 separate times already, but basically it's about a woman called Hannah Casey who goes back to her hometown in Ireland, and she tries to save the cottage that her great aunt left her, and then tries to save the library, the town library. So I don't know, this book sounds really fun. It's supposed to be like a heartwarming novel, so we will see, but this is going to be my green cover book pick. And the fifth challenge is to read a book while wearing a hat the entire time. So for that one, I picked That's Not What Happened by Cody Keplinger. I have also talked about this book in numerous readathon TBR lists already, but basically it's about a girl called Lee who it's like 3 years after this home massacre at her high school, and her best friend Sarah was killed while proclaiming her faith. And this is like a story where Lee talks about how that wasn't true and what led to it, and 3 years later what happened with the other survivors, and that's essentially what the story is about. So for this one, I actually did find some hats to wear, but they're all winter hats, and therefore I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I did find a really cute hat to wear. It's like a beanie, so I'll be wearing this hat the entire time. So it's like so new. I haven't even worn this yet because I think I got this after winter, and it still has a tag on, but this is the hat that I'll be wearing during this book. So the sixth challenge is to read a book with a beautiful spine. This one is going to be a little bit different for me because I'm going to be listening to this via audiobook. I have the audiobook from the library, got that on my phone already, so I'll be reading that. So I will just show you guys an image of the spine. There are 2 versions of the cover, and both spines I think are quite pretty because the book is called Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, and they both have something with water at the edge, like the spine, so I think that qualifies. Though since I'm reading this listening to this via audiobook, I guess the spine won't really matter too much to me, but that's okay. That's not the point here. The point is they both have beautiful spines if you actually look at the physical copies. But anyways, I'm reading this book mainly because it is a Goodreads Choice Award, and I also did a poll on my Twitter account the other day and they told me to read this one, so I was like, alright, this is the one I'm going to read. And honestly, I'm not really sure what to expect because I didn't really like The Girl on the Train, but because this is the Goodreads Choice Award, I figured I'll just check it out and see maybe this one's slightly better, because Girl on the Train was very not the greatest for me. But anyways, just a quick short summary in terms of what this book is about. In the last days before her death, Nell called her sister. Jules didn't pick up the phone, ignoring her plea for help. Now Nell is dead. They say she jumped, and Jules has been dragged back to the one place she hoped she had escaped for good, to care for the teenage girl her sister left behind. But Jules is afraid, so afraid, of her long-buried memories of the old mill house, of knowing that Nell would never have jumped. And most of all, she's afraid of the water, the place they call the drowning pool. So it's another one of her thriller novels, as typical of Paula Hawkins, so I'm excited but also a little bit worried just because I didn't really like her previous book. But that's my pick for the 6th challenge. So for the 7th challenge, which is to read 7 books, since I only have 5 books technically, I have Crazy Rich Asians, Library at the Edge of the World, time traveling one, I have That's Not What Happened, I have Into the Water, so I only have 5 books, so I need 2 more books to actually get 7 books. So for the 7th challenge, I picked 2 books. The first one is 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstad. This one I'm picking up also because I actually put this one up for my July TBR, so I'm really hoping to read this sometime soon, like sooner rather than later. But this also fulfills my Read Harder challenge, which is to read a book that was translated. So this was originally written in Norwegian, I believe. So I'm very excited for this book. So this book is about 3 teenagers called Mia, Midori, and Antoine, who basically won the lottery to go to the moon, and it's been decades since anyone has set foot to the moon, so everyone's very excited for this. But little do they know that something sinister is waiting for them on the desolate surface of the moon. So it's a good adventure with a thriller horror aspect to it, so I'm very excited. about this book. The second book that I'll be picking up for the 7th challenge, so I can actually finish 7 books, is an ebook. I figured I should probably pick up an ebook and an audiobook for commuting purposes, because this is a whole week readathon, and therefore I will be going to work, and therefore I'll be commuting a lot on my work days. So anyways, the one that I'm going to pick up is Serenade by Heather Mackenzie. I actually did an interview with the author a while ago in my blog, so I will link that interview down below in case you want to learn more about her inspirations and the books that she has written so far. So anyways, Serenade is about a girl, Kaya, who is 18 years old and is kidnapped and held hostage in the Rocky Mountains, and her bodyguard would stop at nothing to find her. But then dark family secrets start to unravel, and she's wondering now if she should stay with her abductor because she's clearly falling in love with him, or whether or not she should run. So her heart is telling her to stay, but her head is telling her to run. So now she's faced with all these decisions, and I feel like this is a classic case of Stockholm syndrome right there, because you're falling in love with your kidnapper. But regardless, though, I'm very intrigued by the premise of this book, so this will be the 7th and final book that I'll be reading during this readathon. Alright, so going back to the coin toss, I will be deciding between these 2 books, Crazy Rich Asians and That's Not What Happened. Crazy Rich Asians I want to read first just because the movie comes out earlier. Well, I mean, the movie comes out soon-ish. I do want to finish this soon. And this one because it's a short book, so I figured it would be, for the purpose of readathons, it's good to pick a shorter book. So we shall see. But I will pick this as heads because literally it has a face on the cover, and this one will be tails. And I have my coin here, so let me just toss this. Oh, I've never tossed this coin before, so hopefully it like lands on this thing. Okay. Alright, so it is tails. I don't know if you can see that, but it is tails, and therefore I'll be reading this book first. So that is my first challenge, is to read That's Not What Happened via a coin toss. So anyway, these are all the books that I'll be reading during the Booktube-A-Thon. I'm very excited to see how this will all pan out because this is my first time participating. So very excited to see what everyone else will be doing during this week, and as well as the other challenges, since as I stated, I believe there are video challenges, so I'm curious to see how that will play out. But regardless though, this is all the books I want to pick up during this readathon. So anyways, that's all I have to say. If you're also participating in this Booktube-A-Thon, let me know down below, maybe link to your video so I can see what you're reading or you're planning to read for this readathon. But that's all I have to say for this video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's it for today, guys. Thank you. Bye.